Hey, I'm Al Spry with Tough TV. To Write Love on Her Arms, this is Erin Cogan. She's going to give us a different perspective about how it is to work with the organization on a student level. Erin, how you doing?
Hi, I'm great. I'm the president of the UCF, the University of Central Florida chapter of the To Write Love on Her Arms University chapters.
All right, now, and I've also heard you can pronounce it Tualoha, which rhymes with aloha. So we got the secret pronunciation here. I like that. Tell me a little bit about how you got involved with the organization, what it's done for you.
I've been involved since I was in high school. I was about 16 or 17 when I first got involved. At that time, they didn't really have the U Chapters program. They didn't have that level of involvement. But when I moved to Orlando and got more of an opportunity at UCF, I tried to step up and get more involved, and I had a great chance to become the president there. We've been trying to get a lot of the students to go out and do some more volunteering and to be more hands-on, and we've been trying to educate them a little bit more about mental health and the different issues that they might come in contact with in an area like Orlando.
You know, what's interesting is you don't know this, of course, but you were the inspiration for me getting in touch with the publicist and getting us down here tonight. So thank you very much for doing that.
No problem. I'm glad you came.
I think that it's a great organization doing a lot of great work. What have you personally gotten out of your involvement with To Write Love?
Well, everybody that I've spoken to with To Write Love on Her Arms, they've all been very inspiring to me, and they've taught me, that there's no shame in experiencing struggles and difficulties, and they've taught me that, there's nothing wrong with asking for help when you need it, and that's been something that's been very major for me because I've experienced a lot of challenges moving to a new city and coming here to such a large school. So it's given me the courage to persevere when I've had troubles.
What would you say a big trouble, and how was it solved by working with the group?
I've experienced a lot of anxiety. That's been my major issue. So coming to a new school has been difficult for me, getting a new job, working in a place that I'm unfamiliar with. So having the opportunity to be involved in a community that supports me, especially one where they really want us to speak openly and honestly about different issues, it's helped me to talk through my struggles and become a stronger person and be more comfortable with myself.
And now, let's talk about Heavy and Light. Are you looking forward to the show?
I can't wait. I've been waiting for this for a long time.
So tell me what your favorite part is going to be about the show. Who are you looking forward to seeing the most?
I love Anis Mugjani. He's great. I saw him for the first time last year, and I was blown away. And we got our U Chapter shirts this year, and they're inspired by one of his poems. It's Walk Through This With Me. So I can't wait to wear the shirt and see him again this year.
All right, well, it's great to talk with Erin Cogan, president of the U Chapter of To Write Love on Her Arms at UCF, the University of Central Florida. And we'll be looking forward to seeing the show in just a bit. For Tough TV, I'm Al Spry. And I have a very special guest here. It's Jamie Trakowski. He is the founder of To Write Love on Her Arms. Jamie, great to meet you.
Yeah, good to meet you. Thank you for being here.
It's great to have us, and I just wanted to start off with, let's talk about this great event that you're having, as Heavy and Light 2014, To Write Love on Her Arms. Let's talk a little bit about the event, which is here in Orlando. You just had one in LA last week.
Yeah. So as an organization, we grew out of an attempt to help a friend, just one friend, and to tell a little bit of her story back in 2006, and that happened right here in Orlando. My friend Renee struggled with drug addiction, depression, self-injury, had attempted suicide, and I ended up writing a story about getting to know her, and that story really took on a life of its own, and we've been given so many opportunities over the last almost 8 years to talk about hope, to talk about help, to let people know they're not alone in these places, to let people know it's okay to be honest, it's okay to ask for help, and that's really the goal of the organization and tonight as well. And it's a night of music, there's speaking, there's a really gifted spoken word poet, and then I think one of the coolest parts is everyone in the room leaves with a list of resources. So everyone leaves with a list of places where they can get help, whether it's counseling, treatment, crisis hotlines, AA, NA. So that's something where we're really proud that we've done the homework to be able to do more than just send people with an encouraging message, but to really, we feel like for the night to be a success, it means, people pick up the phone, people knock on those doors.
It's inspiring. Did you find that what made it take off as fast as it did? It's only been a few years since you started it. Did you find there was a void? There was a lack of information, a lack of resources. What do you think is the main reason for the success so far?
You know, I think there were a few factors. You know, it was really perfect timing in terms of the internet and specifically MySpace. We had the support of friends and bands who were quick to wear our T-shirts and let their fans know in different ways. But I would like to think more than anything else, so many people feel alone, and so many people who struggle never take the first step to get help. And I think we accidentally gave people permission. You know, just by going there, just by us putting this story out there, I think it gave people permission to do the same and to think about their own story and their own struggles.
I like that, to give permission. Sometimes you have to give permission to yourself because of fear. It's like breaking through a wall of fear in a way, right?
Yeah, definitely. You know, we've learned that 2 out of 3 people who struggle with depression never get help for it. And I think it points to the stigma and the fear, as you mentioned, that so many people live alone when it comes to these issues.
Let's talk about also the movie. You inspired actually a movie to be made, and it was shot right here in Orlando. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that was definitely a who would have thought or kind of a once in a lifetime thing. And it's been done for, you know, over a year, and now they're just kind of wrapping up the business end of it and finding a home for it. But we're really excited and confident that people are finally going to be able to see that. And I think that's going to happen in 2014.
So this is an annual thing, the Heavy and Light. You plan to continue this for the foreseeable future?
Definitely. This is, I think for a lot of people on our team, we feel like it's our favorite night of the year. It's our flagship event. We won $1 million grant about a year and a half ago that allowed us to turn this into a tour last year. And prior to that, and then obviously tonight, we're able to bring it back to Orlando. And I think, you know, regardless of how many other cities we get to do, I really hope and believe we'll always get to do it here in Orlando.
And Tough TV 38 is based here in Orlando, part of the Tough TV network. It's great to know. And you're based in Melbourne, which is only about an hour or so from here.
Yeah, we're in Melbourne. I grew up over there in Melbourne Beach. And obviously when we want to do fun stuff or go to a concert or tonight put one on, we drive over to Orlando.
Nice, nice. What do you see coming out this year? What are your plans as far as the organization and into 2015? What should we look forward to seeing?
You know, I think for me and really for our team, we see it probably more than anything else as a creative project. And like I said before, we're really in the business of communicating and trying to communicate a message of honesty and invitation to be honest. And as the years have gone by, we've been able to introduce programs, things at the high school level, college campuses, speaking events, obviously Heavy and Light tonight. And my hope is just that we'll continue to be creative in you know, getting this message out there and inviting people not only into the conversation but into ways they can help. And we feel like at the end of the day, it's not about us or this brand or this charity, but we hope it can, you know, spark conversations among friends, among family members, and to us, that's the heart of the matter.
All right, Jamie. Jamie Szwarkowski, founder of To Write Love on Her Arms, right here, Heavy and Light 2014 in Orlando, House of Blues. I'm Al Spry with Tough TV. I'm here with Brian Dales of the Somerset. It's To Write Love on Her Arms, Heavy and Light 2014. Can you believe it's 2014 already?
I was at the bank yesterday and I wrote the date wrong. I'm pretty sure I wrote 2012 still, so that's where I'm at right now. I'm having a hard time understanding what happened to 2013. It just kind of checked out of my memory.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm with you, especially when you write checks and you're still writing 13. Yeah. But anyway, you're here for To Write Love in Her Arms. Great organization. How did you get involved with it?
We met To Write Love in Arms in 2010 on the Vans Warped Tour. They shared a bus with us. They were out on the Vans Warped Tour. We met them. We became very close friends. We were big supporters of the organization already, and then we just became very close friends with them. They're like family to us. They're on almost every tour we've done since 2010. And Josh, our guitarist, works very closely with them. It has shared a story of his with them as well. So we're like family with To Write Love in Our Arms. We love them to death. They did this tour last year, and I thought it was so cool when I saw video and pictures from it, and I just kind of put the bug in their ear all of 2013. Hey, we want to play next year's, and here we are. And then on Saturday in LA, it was amazing. So I couldn't have had a better experience.
And tell us a little bit about the band. Tell us about the Somerset, where you guys met, how you guys formed the band, how long you've been going on. And I know you just you got the I think it was Best New Artist for iHeartRadio.
Yes. We started the band in 2007 while I was just beginning my senior year of high school, actually. And then John Gomez, our guitar player, he was only 16. But John, his brother Steven, our bass player, and Jess Bowen, our drummer, have known each other since they were 11, 12 years old. They were in the same soccer club, and they kind of learned their instruments together. So they played in just local high school garage bands in their parents' house for years and years until in 2007, one band after another led to us starting the Somerset, and we had a quick jump start locally that was a huge starting point for us. We had a great following in Arizona, and we took that to Southern California, and then John and I finished high school, and we got on the road playing for 50 kids a night, and that led to where we are now. It's 2014. We put out our third album, Legendary, last April, and 2013 was the craziest year I think we've ever had as a band, from the Macy's iHeartRadio Rising Star to the iHeartRadio Festival to playing the Macy's Day Parade. So,
It's a blur, I take it.
it's a blur, and it's a really cool feeling to be a band for, this is now going to be our 7th year, and last year felt like the first year all over again, and that was really cool.
So you got some momentum going. You got a single, I heard Boomerang. That's a fun song. Tell me a little bit about how that one came about.
Boomerang was one of the last songs written for the album. The album was pretty much almost wrapped. We weren't really thinking about it, and John, myself, our friend Kevin Bard, who used to be in a band we toured with, kind of got together, and we were making some music, kind of goofing around a little bit with the "if I was this, you were that" kind of idea, and it led us to Boomerang, and we finished the song in just a couple hours and turned it in, and everyone loved it, and the final record turned out fantastic. So that became the first single, and we did a video for it and everything, and it was cool for a song that was one of the last ones.
Yeah, sometimes it works out that way. I like that line, if I was Jay-Z and you were Beyonce. That's a pretty cool, and then we'll go around the world and stuff. So so tell us, the audience, tell us a little bit about what you want to get out of tonight. How did the gig go in L.A.? Because you did one show in L.A., and now you're doing one tonight in Orlando. So
this show, after experiencing the LA one, it was an experience unlike any other. I've never, all the artists in the show are incredible. I'm a big fan of John Foreman and Switchfoot for years. Mary Lambert, I have a ton of respect for. Her song "She Keeps Me Warm," which is also used in Macklemore's "Same Love," I think it's just one of the best songs I've ever heard. There's a spoken word poet on this show named Anis Mojgani, who I hadn't met him, and right before the show in LA, I remember Jamie from To Write Love in Our Arms gathered everyone in the dressing room, and we did like a pre-show huddle, and he talked about just what the message of tonight is. And I guess it's tradition in the past for Anis to recite a poem in the huddle, and I had never met this guy, and he just started talking, and I'd never been so just captivated and inspired by a person my entire life. It was so cool to kind of go on stage after having a pep talk like that, so to speak, and the show went fantastic. It's just so cool to be in a room with all these people who are all here for the same message, to inspire people that every day is a new day, and you can wake up and you can be amazing, and the only person who is in control of that fate is you, and that was so cool. The energy in the room in LA was unbelievable, and I expect nothing less from tonight. So
I think it's going to be a great show, a real positive show. So what's on tap for 2014 after this? What do you guys got going on? Tour, some more work in the studio, support on some singles, what?
We have, after the show, we have a couple weeks off, and then we begin a very new type of tour for us, where we're going out on the road and playing some of the small venues we played when we first started, but acoustic, stripped down, intimate shows. Very excited. The response has been incredible. All the shows are already sold out. And we're going on the road, and we're playing our new album, Legendary, front-to-back acoustic, telling the stories of how the songs were written, and showing like a 15-minute short film of how the album was made, and our year on tour last year. I'm very excited for it, and it's a couple weeks long. Very excited. And then we go overseas to the UK after that, and then that's in April. So we're pretty much on the road February through end of April, and then we're trying to figure out what we do next after that. Hopefully at the end of the year, maybe we could start working on another album. We'll see.
All right, Brian. Well, it's great meeting you. It's great to hear the Somerset tonight. We're going to have a great time, and I wish you the best of luck in 2014.
Thank you. Very excited to be here tonight.
All right, man. I'm Al Spry with Tough TV. We'll be back in a sec. Hi, I'm Al Spry with Tough TV. Anis Mojgani. That's a name you're going to be hearing. I guess what would we call you? This generation's Allen Ginsberg, or what? What do we call you?
Phrase, but if you want to call me that, I'll happily step into those shoes.
Tell me about your interest in poetry and visual arts. Obviously, you are the man who is going to be giving a really cool perspective to the performance tonight, To Write Love in Our Arms, Heavy and Light.
Yeah, I've been doing the working with To Write Love in Arms, I think, since maybe 2010. Jamie invited me to come participate, and so it's always a fun evening, and particularly something different than I normally get to do, since it's primarily a music show, and so it's nice to kind of slip a poem here and there throughout the process of the evening. So, as always, just excited for it.
Adding a little spice, adding a little You know, a little extra element. What do you? How did it go in L.A.? What are you looking to do tonight in Orlando?
LA was great. We were there last year and had a fantastic time, and it was the same way last week. We had a really great crowd. In regards to like here in Orlando, it's kind of like coming home. Like we've now done this show in this space probably like 4 or 5 times, I guess. And there'll be some things that are the same as in LA, some things that'll be different. Gonna do a few different poems than last week, and the crowd is always just really warm and inviting group of folks.
Nice. You've been described, characterized, at least on Wikipedia, as a geek genius. Have you heard this phrase before?
I have heard that phrase before.
Tell me about this phrase. How does this relate to you?
No idea. I would assume somewhere along the line, someone's like, that dude's kind of geeky looking, and I'm digging what he's saying. So he's some sort of geek genius. I don't know.
I'm liking the geek genius thing. I think that's and I like some of your influences. Tell me about some of them. I saw you said Charles Bukowski and Walt Whitman. Very interesting guys that kind of strip it down and are in the real, in the moment. Tell us about them and how they influence you, and who else you've been influenced by.
Well, I mean, both those folks definitely spoke to me. There was something in regards to Walt Whitman. I just loved how there was something about his poems that, even though they were written so very long ago, that they felt when I got introduced to them as if they could have been written that day. There was something very timeless about them, and what made me fall in love with Charles Bukowski is that here was this guy that was not a lover of humanity, I would say, but then if you looked at the spectrum of his work, here was this man who went from dropping these little like gems of beautiful observation to like really developing a love, I would say, for like people in the world around him. And there's something I think really magnificent about that. And I mean, like I've been influenced and inspired by a number of folks from throughout the Beat generation, such as Kerouac and Ginsberg and Gregory Corso. I really love the poet Anne Sexton. Another couple poets that have been a heavy influence on me are Richard Brautigan and Frank Stanford. Pretty much I just like any poet that crafts work that speaks to me, that in both an emotional way, but also more heady, work that speaks to the ways in which I feel and interact with my feelings, but also poems that make me sit down and think and ponder and wonder, like, oh, what are they trying to say here? What is this clue mixed with this clue equal? Those are the kind of poems that I really love.
Here's a question that I would have, because you want to cut through tonight and you want to reach people. Obviously, that's what you do, especially and the artists that write to music also. What do you want to say? What do you want to say to people that are maybe going through a tough time right now and are looking for a little inspiration, maybe a way to cut through the madness that is modern life?
Yeah, I mean, one of the big things that I try to offer or give to people when I do shows or when I'm sharing particular poems, and particularly in an arena that like this, working with To Write Love in Arms, is really trying to convey and communicate to folks how much of worth they are, especially in those times when they might not feel that. Because everyone's felt that at some point. And I think that in those moments when one does feel a lack of self-worth, it's really, really easy to feel as if you're alone in that. And that's something that everybody has struggled with, be it a large struggle or a small struggle. Everybody faces that at some point, usually repeated times within our lifetime. And, just trying to communicate that you're not alone in that struggle, and that in spite of, circumstances that might be surrounding you, that there's worth to your presence here in this world, and to hopefully give them that little reminder.
Well, thanks for your time, Anis Mojgani, here with To Write Love on Her Arms, and going to be a great show here in Orlando with the House of Blues Heavy and Light 2014 for Tough TV. I'm Al Spry. And I'm here with singer-songwriter Tristan Prettyman. It's To Write Love on Her Arms, Heavy and Light 2014. Tristan, how you doing?
I'm great, thanks.
First off, welcome to Orlando. You had a great event in L.A. Tell us about that event. 2 dates we had for To Write Love on Her Arms. So tell us about the event and how it moved you.
I've known Jamie Tchaikovsky for a really long time, well, not a really long time, but a good amount of years now, and he has been asking me to be a part of this for the last couple years, and this was finally the first year I had the time off, and I was not touring or in some crazy city, and it's been really great. Our show in LA last week was amazing. It was packed. It was a really intimate, special night, just about coming together to kind of start a conversation. And it's really amazing to see the artists come together, the poets, the speakers, and there's this common thread of just sharing. And we're not perfect, and there is no one has life figured out. We're all on this crazy journey together, trying to hang on and learn and be okay with all the changes. So.
I don't know if you're familiar with Bill Hicks, a comedian from about 20 years ago, but he used to say life's a ride, and it has twists and turns and bright lights, and it's something that we're all trying to figure out, like you said. Do you think that this organization fits with the times? I'm thinking that it's needed, obviously, because the way it's taken off over the last few years, and if so, why do you think that is?
I think the topics that they focus on are hard topics to discuss. Self-harm, depression, anxiety, losing a parent, having an addiction problem. These things are hard to talk about, especially with social media, especially with everybody posting about how great their life is and about how toned their body is, and it leaves people that are actually having real issues whose lives are very far from perfect, feeling really alone. And at the end of the day, everybody has bad days. Everyone has been through something. Every one of us is constantly going through something, and I think that's amazing to have To Write Love in Our Arms to say, we don't have it figured out. We're not perfect. I've been there too. I've sat with people that have been there too. And that's personally why I believe in it and why I'm, a part of these shows.
Yeah, and then it just I think a big part of it is I agree with you totally. A lot of the people, and they're posting on the social networks and stuff, but their lives are not perfect like they're putting up on Facebook and on Twitter. They're having the normal problems that everybody has, but it's like they're putting this false identity almost, and so it's like a false advertising thing, and people are trying to relate to something that doesn't even really exist.
Right. Yeah. I mean, even just last night, we got to the hotel. We flew all day, and I'm like, I'm getting old, and I ate mac and cheese, and I feel out of shape, and look at my Instagram feed. It's like, and then it's like even I have the day where I'm like, why my life? So, and it's not. But, we all just have the days where we just don't feel like ourselves, or we don't feel as healthy as we want to feel, or we don't feel as happy as we'd like to feel. And that's hard. I mean, that's all right now in these times. It's like that. It's all about social media. And, yeah.
Let's talk about Cedar and Gold. Let's talk about a couple of, obviously there's a lot of inspiration from your relationship with Jason Mraz, I take it. I mean, that's kind of what I see was what the driving force was giving you to write and stuff to kind of clear that out. And tell us about how that album formed and how the healing happened with that and stuff.
Well, I actually just posted a blog all about this. No, it wasn't all about this, but it was a snippet of this. And, when you're on and off with someone for that amount of time, when you invest in someone for 9 years on and off, I had never had this kind of heartbreak before. And I was 29 years old. And I didn't want to write I didn't want to write a sad album. I was trying to write a happy album for the last album. And so, of course, when all the songs kind of naturally started coming as they do, they were all about the breakup and they were all sad. And I resisted it for quite a while because I just was, was not wanting to make another sad record. But, as is with art, that's what was coming. I had to just embrace it. I had to let go of what I wanted and embrace what was coming to me. And it was rough. I'd never experienced that kind of heartbreak. It felt like someone was like totally destroying me, but I always try to view life through a lens of positivity and that things happen for a reason. And at the end of the day, this whole situation really left me free and very clear. and almost with like a fresh start. And so I just had to be honest with the album and what was coming out and just kind of get behind it 100%. And here we are 2 years later. I just got engaged. So it's the, good things happen. But at the time it was hard. It was, a lot of snot and a lot of tears and a lot of not wanting to talk to anybody and a little bit of depression. And it was, but it's like a cloud that, it's like a cloudy sky. It's like the storm has to go. It will clear at some point and it will be sunny again.
And I think that's what people need to realize about when you deal with life's issues, because life is lived in the moments, right? I think people need to realize that it does clear, that the moments don't last. That's why you can't get yourself boxed in. Bono wrote that, right? Don't stuck in a moment and stuff like that. You get stuck in a moment. But so congratulations on the engagement. Who's the lucky guy?
He's my boyfriend. Well, he's my fiance now. We met at a show like 8 years ago. I don't remember. And then he hired me to it's a really long story that I really feel like I don't have time to explain. But, he basically felt a connection with me and contacted me, and we went out and had the best time ever. And I totally was caught off guard, was not expecting it, was like okay with being single. I was dating, I was having fun, and he just kind of came out of nowhere and really showed me what I deserved and really fought for me in a way that no one else had. And, it's funny, I have cousins that are 15, 16, and they're starting to date, and it's like, oh my gosh, like, he doesn't like me, it's the end of the world. And I say to them, I'm 31, and I just, met someone who I finally realized, who has made me realize what I deserve, who is really, a solid person. And I'm 31 years old, and I just found that. And, so I think it's always in those moments, especially when you're a teenager, you're going through all your, changes, and you're coming into your own. It's easy to be in the moment, in that moment, and think, it's always going to be like this forever, but, so.
Yeah, that's great, though. That's great. So what's up in 2014? What you're going to be doing tour-wise in support of the album and stuff? Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So I've already done most of the touring, actually, for Cedar and Gold. I'm just doing a few shows here and there. And mostly I'm writing. I'm writing for the next record, which is already proving to be happy. So I got, at the end, my...
You have a lot to be happy for.
Yeah, and it's hard to... it's so easy to write when you're bummed out. It's just so easy.
And it makes for hit records. I mean, let's just say it. When you write the down record, people can relate and they go, yeah, that's me too. The happy record is fun too.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a challenge trying to write a happy record that's not super cheesy, and it be as genuine as a sad album is. So it's a really good challenge, but I'm up for it.
All right. Tristan Prettyman, and it's To Ride Love in Her Arms, tonight's show here in Orlando, Heavy and Light 2014. I'm Al Spry with Tough TV. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you.
Free your mind.
Hey, this is my favorite night of the year. This is my absolute favorite thing that we get to do. It still blows me away that we get to plan this thing and try to create this thing and that you guys would actually show up. I know people got on airplanes, people took road trips. Is that any of you? You can't all take credit for the airplanes and road trips. A friend of mine who came from really far away. But before that, I just want to kind of press pause and just say it's okay to be a person, and that as a person we all struggle at times, life is painful at times, and it's okay to say it out loud. And I hope that you walk out of here feeling like there's a friend that you can say that to, that there's some people in your life that you can be honest with, and to know that if you get to a place where you need to ask for help, it's okay to ask for help. So that's what tonight's about. Does that sound okay? And bless you, somebody sneezed. So I'm going to introduce a friend of mine. I'm going to go over here and see if the light follows me. I don't know how that works. It does. It appears. We didn't plan this. We didn't rehearse this. This guy is sort of, he's a new friend of mine. He's sort of like a little brother, which is interesting because he's taller than me. And I'm used to being the tallest, but he is 6'6", but younger. Not that you're down here. I heard of this guy, and I heard he did, someone said there was this TED Talk that I needed to watch. And TED Talks are a big deal. And someone said, there's this TED Talk, you need to see it. And I ended up watching this guy's talk, and his name is Kevin, and he talked about struggling with depression, and he talked about thinking about suicide. And I came to realize that this TED Talk was suddenly everywhere. It just took off, and as we stand here tonight, more than 2 million people have seen this. Of the hundreds and probably thousands of TED Talks on that website, there's only 2 that are about depression. And so my friend Kevin, his is one of those. And I thought it was the best talk I had ever seen of someone just being incredibly honest about what it was to live the struggle of depression, and yet to also talk about hope in the face of that. And he's become a friend, and I'm proud to call him a friend. He came all the way from Victoria, Canada. So in America, we pretend that it only goes as far as Seattle, right? Seattle's like the top left corner, and we live in the other corner. And he lives above that corner. And if you guys would help me welcome Kevin Briel.
I've known about Jamie and To Write Love for a couple years now and been really amazed and sort of just in awe of the work that they do. Putting on events like tonight is just incredible. To have all you guys in a room here for Heavy and Light is just amazing. I'm happy to be here just as a ticket holder, let alone to be able to share my story. So I just want to be real quick, and then we can get people who are better looking and also have better voices than me. So I know that's what you all want. We'll be quick. No. Just kidding. I grew up on the west coast of Canada. I played sports. I played basketball, and I as a teenager, I dealt with depression. And I never really knew how to talk about that. To be honest, I didn't even always know what that meant. I just knew that sometimes I felt like my heart was really heavy and I had a lot of questions, and I would wake up feeling like I was in this fog, and more than anything, I kind of felt suffocated by the shame or secrecy that's maybe around some of these topics, like depression, like addiction, like self-injury and suicide. And they're topics that people tend not to talk about because they're not easy to talk about. And so while I was wrestling with depression and these questions for 4 or 5 years, I never told anyone. Because I kind of thought that our deepest struggle is also supposed to be our deepest secret. It's supposed to be the thing that we hide and keep away because it's our imperfection. It's maybe our flaw. And so I hid what I was going through for a long time. And the more you hide, the more you run away from who you really are, the harder that becomes. And after 5 or 6 years of wrestling with these things and not telling anyone, it kind of all collided for me on this one night. And it was February 26, 2011, so 3 years ago now. And that night, we played for a high school basketball championship in Canada, which is very, very small. There's only 3 other teams. We were playing against girls. Some of them were blind. I don't want to get into it. I just want to say that we won. I scored a lot of points. My validation was very high. In the photos, we were sort of trying to push them out. Like, we just beat a really tough team of huge dudes who can dunk. And on February 26th, I won a high school basketball championship, this thing I thought about for 4 years, and I broke the scoring record as a first-team All-Star. And there's photos of the night with me holding these trophies and around my teammates, and there's photos of that, but what there's not photos of is 6 hours later I came home to my house all by myself, and I sat in my room on my bed, and I wrote my suicide note. Because after 6 years of dealing with these things in silence, I thought that if winning this trophy, if winning this championship, if this moment of elation can't fix what's going on inside my heart and inside my head, what can? And so I didn't necessarily want to die, but I certainly didn't know what the point of life was anymore. And so that night I wrote out my suicide note, and I decided that February 26, 2011 was going to be the last night I was alive. When I was finished writing that note, a really interesting thing happened where I read it through, and I realized that all these things I wrote about in the note, this pain and these questions and this depression and this sense of shame and secrecy, I had never told anyone.
Rock out like you were just given the last rock and roll record on Earth and the minutes are counting down to flames. Rock out like you just won both showcase showdowns. Rock out like the streets are empty except for you, your bicycle, and your headphones. Rock out like your lips were just placed onto a breakdancing muse with legs that go all the way up. Rock out like Publishers Clearinghouses ringing your front door. Rock out like you'll never have to open up a textbook again. Rock out like you get paid to disturb the peace. Rock out like music is all that you got. Rock out like you were standing on a rooftop and the city's as loud and glowing as a river flowing below you. Rock out like the plane is going down and there are 120 people and 121 parachutes on board. Rock out like the books and the cities are all on fire and the flames can only be extinguished by doing the electric slide. Rock out like it's Saturday afternoon and Monday was a national holiday. Rock out like somebody's got a barrel pointed to your temple saying, rock out like your life depended on it, fool, because it does. Rock out like your eyes are fading, but you still got your ears, but you don't know for how long. So rock out like 5 o'clock time meant popping lock time. Rock out like you got pants full of tokens and nothing to do but everything. Rock out like you are the international skee-ball champion of the entire universe. Rock out like you just escaped an evil orphanage to join a Russian circus. Rock out like your hero has fallen and you are spinning your limbs until they burst into a flaming pyramid of remembrance. Rock out like you are enslaved in the South and dancing is the only thing you have to know who you are. Rock out like your dead grandfather just came back to take a drive with you in your brand new car. Rock out like the table was full. Rock out like the neighbors are away. Rock out like the walls won't fall, but damn it, you're gonna die trying to make them. Rock out like the stereo's volume knob only has the figure 8 of infinity on it instead of merely numbers. Rock out like it's raining outside and you got a girl to run through it with. Rock out like you were playing football in the mud and your washing machine ain't broken. Rock out like you threw your window open on your honeymoon because you want the whole world to know what love is. Rock out like you just got a book published. Rock out like you just returned to your high school reunion and found everyone, even the women, are all ugly and balding except for the former captain of the cheerleader squad who was just divorced by her impotent husband and who only has eyes for you. Rock out like a shadow man passes behind you, drops to your knees, you're buckling in a cold sweat, metal is pushed to the back of your skull, the trigger's pulled, and the gun jams. Rock out like you've got an empty appointment book and a full tank of gas. Rock out like Jimmy has returned carrying brand new guitar strings. Rock out like the mangoes are in season. Rock out like the record player won't skip. Rock out like this was the last weekend. Rock out like these were the last words. Rock out like you don't ever want to forget how. Thank you very much. Orlando, it is a pleasure as always to be in your arms for this show. Thank you so much for coming out tonight, and it is an honor to welcome your first musical guest of the evening. She's had a whirlwind year.
I love you guys already. This is amazing. I'm really excited because my single "She Keeps Me Warm" came out, and I know Orlando's been playing on radio, so I'm so excited. I haven't heard it here yet, but I've been driving a ton.
We were bound to be set free eventually. So here we are now. You could say anything. If I could ever go anyway, it'd go like this. Take it back to a couple years yesterday, to our first kiss. In that moment I loved you. It's just now I ever saw it going down. Oh, in that moment I loved you. I wish I knew then what I know now. But we won't break if we let go, 'cause you and I already know we were bound to be saved. You could say anything. Oh, you should listen to your heart. It's gonna tell you what you need. And take care of yourself. And don't you worry about me. Oh, you should listen to your heart. It's gonna tell you what you need. So take care of yourself.